It's 1:01 now, so we'll call the meeting to order at 1 p.m. approximately, give or take. Okay, let me get to my agenda. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for coming, and for those who are coming back a second time, thank you for coming back. I was absent last month, so we'll have you do the roll call, please, Ms. Groom.
Mr. Connors?
Here.
Mr. Harshaw?
Here.
Ms. Barhu?
Here.
Mr. George?
Here.
Mr. Betts?
Here.
Ms. Bowler?
Here. Introduction of city staff, Ms. Melissa Phillips, our development review technician. Mary isn't here today?
No.
Okay. And Mr. Ben Gross, our deputy city attorney, and Ms. Becky Groom, of course, our board secretary. And we will move on to the approval of the minutes from the November
17.
17th meeting. Does anyone have any questions or comments or changes?
Nope.
Well done. I'll move for approval.
Okay,
I second it.
okay. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Great. The minutes of November 17th are approved, and we will move on to our first case, Case A. Ms. Groom, could you read it into the record, please?
BOA 2022-017, variance from Article 4, Section 42B3. A request by George Symington for a variance from Article 4, Section 42B3 of the Land Development Code to reduce the minimum required rear property line setback for an accessory structure over 200 square feet from 25 feet to 10 feet. This will allow for the construction of a 588 square foot detached garage. The property is located at 928 Benicia Avenue, parcel ID 523909000240. And this case is continued from the November 17, 2022 Board of Adjustment meeting.
Thank you. And Mr. Symington, am I saying that right? I know you were here last month. I was not, but I did read through the minutes, and you're back here to kind of update us. So why
Right.
don't you update us, and then we'll have everybody ask their
All right,
questions.
originally, it was going to be a steel building. I went back to Daytona Sheds, or Sheds of Daytona, and talked to Mr. Rhodes, and he had a 12 by 32, and it's the same size as my storage unit, and you can't walk in it. But he says, well, what were you looking for? And I said, something like 20 by 30, 18 by 30. He said, well, we'll build it. So he's going to build a conventional stick-built wood garage. He's going to put the siding on sideways, so it looks like the log cabin. Colors are going to match the house, same color roof, barn doors instead of a regular garage door. So it'll look sort of like the log cabin.
Okay, and yeah, and you do, it seemed like most of the comments last time were tending around that, and you do have such a beautiful log cabin.
Thank you.
So, you have a question?
No, it's exactly what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
You make me happy.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
The guy to make
Very
happy.
good.
And this is the new thing you said.
These are from Mr. Rhodes over at the shed. This just showing basically the shape, because these are his actual sheds. His architect's been out of town for a couple of weeks and hasn't been able to get me a drawing yet.
Because this didn't necessarily indicate that it would be the wood or that it would be sideways, but you've
But I
stated
just
it would be.
I requested from him. I
Okay.
said, because he's got the T111.
Okay.
I says, can it be put sideways so it looks like the lock? And he's, sure,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Any other questions?
No.
No. Is there anyone in the audience to speak for or against? Okay.
I move that we approve the request.
And I second it.
Okay, and that would be
Subject
for
to
the,
the revised plan.
yeah. And for the wood and for it to be sideways.
The doors and everything he changed, so that's good.
Okay, can we have a roll call?
Mr. Harshaw?
Yes.
Ms. Barhu?
Yes.
Mr. George?
Yes.
Mr. Betts?
Yes.
Mr. Connors?
Yes.
Hmm.
Ms. Bowler?
Yes. Okay.
Congratulations.
Separate?
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Case B.
BOA 2022-019, variance from Article 6, Section 64C. A request by Zev Cohen and Associates on behalf of Brian Cohen of Cohen Square for a variance from Article 6, Section 64C1A, the seat of the Land Development Code, to reduce the required 5-foot deep landscape area of a property perimeter bounded by a building or structure. They also seek a variance from Article 6, Section 64C2A, to reduce the required 5-foot deep landscape area adjacent to a building perimeter. This will allow for the development of a 7,957 square foot office building. The property is located at 1106 Bevel Road, parcel ID 5340-0522-0060.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience to come speak for the case? I know I didn't say name and address. Yeah. Thank you. I knew I was forgetting something. Could you state your name and address for the record?
My name's Michael Hennessy. My address is 780 Northeast 69th Street, apartment 1410, Miami, Florida 33138.
Okay. Well, welcome to Daytona.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for hearing us.
Mr. Hennessy, are you with Cohen Square LLC?
I am not. My role in this project is with the project manager for the people who will be occupying the building, in this case, Humana. Zev Cohen, our engineer, was meant to be here today, but he let me know that he got the flu and he wouldn't be able to attend. But I've been working with him as the engineer. We hired him as our engineer for the project. I also have with me the property owner, Cohen Commercial, and another person from Humana.
Sir, you're with the property owner and he's authorized to represent you in this? Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So just as for some context, Humana has been looking at this property for some time. We've been in the Daytona Beach market. Our plan back in 2019, when we were looking to relocate from city of South Daytona into the Village Plaza, we identified this piece of property, negotiated our lease, did our design, and we're fully permitted and ready to begin construction in late 2020. Unfortunately, early morning of Thanksgiving 2020, there was a fire which burned down the existing building that we were planning on renovating. We were forced to regroup and just determine what our course of action would be. So we proceeded with a design rebuilding back in the same location. We did our design, worked with city staff to make sure that we complied with the architectural guidelines for that thoroughfare, et cetera, and submitted the plans and were preliminary approved for our building permit pending our site plan approval. Currently, our site plan approval is on hold because the property owner, Cohen Commercial, is doing a replat. They've gone through their replat process. They are actually scheduled to be at the Planning Review Board in this chamber at 6 o'clock tonight. They've received all their comments from city staff, and they are hopefully will be approved. We've been advised by staff that we require a variance in order to build back at the same footprint that we previously were designed to. We are asking for the minimum variance necessary on two of the sides for the landscaping. On one side, we are abut the Aldi property. That is, a portion of that is landscaped, but a portion of that, there is a sidewalk which Aldi needs for egress. At the front of the property, we're asking for the reduction from 5 feet to 3 feet for the landscape area. We're committed to this location. We have already relocated from South Daytona into this shopping center. We're currently occupying a much smaller suite at 1114? 1116 within the same shopping center. We're currently constrained in the amount of services that we can provide. We have 4 exam rooms and can only serve about 680 people. Our intent when we complete this project is to have 12 exam rooms serving up to 3,000 people. Humana serves over 2 million people in Florida. Over 650,000 of those are on Medicaid.
I had a couple questions. I'm not familiar with a replat. What's that term mean?
Replat is where you replat formerly platted property. It's the same as doing a plat, but for property that's previously been platted. You might take a lot within a previously platted subdivision and subdivide that into smaller lots.
All right.
That is what's happening in this particular case, is they're subdividing it into smaller properties. Because the replat hasn't been finalized, we're kind of held up until that's done. And the reason we're applying sooner rather than later is that we would like to be able to get started as soon as, provided the variance is granted, would we like to be able to be teed up, ready to go once the replat is approved.
And did you say also that if approved, your plan's just going to build on the existing footprint there, and the just variance just is to get it in compliance with?
Yeah,
or-
so if I can, I think right now, if the building were built back, it would comply with existing setbacks that apply to the larger lot. But since they're dividing the larger lot into separate pieces, the setbacks would apply on a per lot basis. The existing building would not comply with that. So this variance actually allows the preliminary and final plat to be approved, notwithstanding the normal setback issue.
So it actually applies to the replat for tonight?
Well, it'll help with the
Okay,
replat.
okay. And the replat is for the Aldi and for those 2 buildings? Or that building
Yes,
will then be?
yes, for the larger parcel that's shown on page, on the location map. It's, I'm sorry, I'm not sure what page it is. I don't have the page numbers.
Is it the entire Office Depot, everything? Is that, no?
No, so the Office Depot is completely separately on the property. So that's the proposed Humana parcel. And then there's Aldi, and then there's single-story office, that's kind of a U shape.
Okay.
That, exactly.
Yeah, so the boundaries, if I can, are on page 4 of your staff report. As you can see, they include some buildings on the north side of the site that
Right.
exist.
So we are proposed lot 1, and there's a blow-up of proposed lot 1 on page 2 of the staff report.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind. So basically what we're saying is we have the concrete slab. We want to build on that footprint. If you don't get the variance, you're going to have to start jackhammering part of the slab away to get your landscape requirement in there. Is that basically
And reduce the size of the building, which means we would reduce the
capacity?
capacity in what we're providing.
Okay.
So the building is going where the previous building was, or where,
Exactly where the previous building was.
not where you had been approved to build, and then the old building burned down?
We were approved to build within the old building. It burned down, so we're reusing the existing slab and foundation and building back on that old slab and foundation.
Yeah, I was out at the property earlier. It's just a slab at this point with a chain link fence around it.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's nice to see that, this area is getting reinvigorated.
We're trying.
Yeah. Any more questions? Is there anyone else in the audience to speak for or against? No. Do either of you have anything you'd like to add, or are you just here to support? Okay, okay, okay. Okay, does anyone have any questions for the owner specifically?
No.
Okay,
I'd move to approve, subject to the lot split being approved by the commission tonight,
okay.
because without it, we don't need the variance.
Second, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, or roll call, I guess.
Mr. Connors?
Yes.
Mr. Harshaw?
Yes.
Ms. Barhu?
Yes.
Mr. George?
Yes.
Mr. Betts?
Yes.
Ms. Bowler?
Yes. Congratulations. Thank you.
Good luck.
Good luck, yeah. Okay, case 3, if you, or C, if you could please read that into the record, Ms. Groom?
BOA 2022-020, variances from Article 6, Section 63G.
Okay.
A request by Zahn Engineering on behalf of Scott Weedman, property owner, for a variance from Article 6,
Okay.
Section 63G 6B IIC of the Land Development Code to reduce the required 24-foot driveway entrance width to 12 feet, and a variance from Article 6, Section 63G 6B IID to reduce the required 20-foot driveway entrance radius to 12 feet. This will allow an existing driveway to be considered LDC compliant in the development of a professional services office. The property is located at 157 Fairview Avenue, parcel ID 533845010050.
Thank you. Could you please state your name and address for the record?
Pete Zahn, Zahn Engineering, 150 South Palmetto, Suite 201, Daytona Beach.
Okay, thank you. Nice shirt, by the way.
Thank you.
Very festive.
Thanks. I try to, and socks too,
Oh, nice.
for Christmas. Christmas
Please
week.
tell us why you're here today and why you need the variance.
Well, initially, Scott Widman came into our office and he wanted to do some improvements inside his residence. He's been in it 20-plus years, I believe. He's an insurance broker, so he wanted to have an office. We did a floor plan for him for that, for an ADA-compliant bathroom. He, I guess he came for a building permit, I'm not sure. I mean, that was the whole reason that we did the plans. And then they said he needed a couple parking places, so he added 2 parking places at the back, a handicap space. Then he called for an inspection, and I said, no, you've got to run it through site plan approval. So what happened was, because it was a change of use from residential to office, it came under site plan review requirements, and a whole bunch of them.
Okay.
So we prepared the site plan, we turned it in, it's all existing. The driveway was 12 feet at the narrowest point. And so what happened, by virtue of that being a fixed requirement there, we have to come in for a variance on it. So that's why we're here. And Scott, when he initially started this, he came to the city and I think went to TRT and told them what he wanted to do. And they said, oh, well, we're all for bringing commercial and residential, you know, and combine, kind of like the lofts are over there.
Yeah.
So he moved ahead, and then we caught up with the permitting for him after the fact, which is always a little tougher to do. But so that's why we're here today.
Okay.
It's this fixed situation. So
Okay. That explains a lot because it seems like it's already what it is. And
Yeah.
okay, that explains the history. Any questions, comments?
I happened to go to the site yesterday and talk to the owner, and he walked me back there, and there's plenty of turning area once this new two spaces are in. And he meets people mostly away from his office, but this is for office visits, so it really isn't a problem to me.
Yeah.
This structure is not residential, it's only professional use?
no, it's residential. It's his home. And then he put one room, converted it to just a nice space for people to occasionally come there. Usually, like you said, he's meeting off-site,
Okay.
Yeah, this back room is his office part.
right?
It's a really nice property. I had one question. I think it's probably more for city staff because it says the future land use of the property is partially office residential and partially level 2 residential. What does that mean? How can it be both?
Because half of the lot is, like, the front half of the
okay.
lot is one, and then the
Okay.
rear half is level
Okay.
2 residential. It's just one
Okay.
of those.
Okay.
The future land use map doesn't always agree.
Okay. It seems to me like it complies, you know, with the neighborhood and the future land use. It fits in. It's such a busy
It looks
street.
just like it
Yeah.
has for 20 years.
It's very pretty. Any other questions?
Yeah, the one concern I had was what type of a broker, and you know, what kind of an insurance broker he is, whether he's gonna have a lot of traffic or not. But if he's meeting mostly, since you've met with him and he meets mostly all, because I was an insurance broker for years, so it depends on what kind of.
He
whether
said
it's
mostly he's
retail.
off-site.
Yeah,
So
whether
just
you're a retail
occasionally.
insurance broker or whether you're handling bigger accounts.
His email has got a thing on the end of it that long, so.
Yes, it should. All right, thank you.
And that street, it seems like it can handle a lot of traffic. I mean, it is a busy street, so it's not like this would be encroaching. It didn't seem to me into a residential neighborhood, you know.
I took pictures and I stood in the street and survived it, so.
Yeah.
Did you? Okay. good.
Good job.
Yeah, it's a pretty property.
Yeah,
Got a nice
very
house.
pretty.
Nice house.
Okay, anybody in the audience?
No.
Last
left?
call, last call. Okay, do we have a motion for case C?
I'll make a motion to approve case C
Okay.
as submitted.
Second.
Okay, second, roll call, please.
Ms. Barhu?
Yes.
Mr. George?
Yes.
Mr. Betts?
Yes.
Mr. Connors?
Yes.
Mr. Harshaw?
Yes.
Ms. Bowler?
Yes.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Happy
Thank you
holidays.
very much. I want to thank Missy. She's been, we've had a couple projects come through with Habitat and some others. This popped up. She said, well, if you can get it in here by Monday, we can get it on this
That's
agenda.
great.
So.
Thank you for
somehow
saying
we
that.
did.
It was like Santa Claus.
I know.
It's like
She
Santa
is very
Claus.
organized. Yeah. But thank you for saying that. You know, it's nice to hear good things. Thank you.
He's very helpful.
Happy holidays.
All right. Do we have a review of the cases, please?
All three cases passed 6-0.
Right. And do we have any new business? I think we handled that last time. while I
We
was-
did. Do you know when to show up in January?
Yeah, I guess at 2:30.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a shot, you know.
Guys, I'm sorry, I printed out the
It's okay.
schedule and then I
Oh,
forgot.
it's okay.
I will email it.
You keep us in line with email, you know, so I like that. Any other new business? Anybody want to say anything before the holidays?
I think Missy does a nice job. I appreciate the email.
Yes,
How you-
Missy.
Yeah,
keeping
I
us up
know.
to date on stuff. You really
Yeah,
good.
because I didn't have my case A1, and then I found it in the email. So I appreciate that you email it. You keep us updated by email. It's hard if you get new things here, you know, because how can you really read over them?
I do want to mention something about legal process. Somebody looked over at me when Mr. Betts, you were explaining that you'd been to the site on the last case and talked to the property owner. Just so everybody knows, there's nothing illegal with a board member visiting the site. Now, y'all shouldn't go two at a time because you
Right.
could be discussing something outside the contours of the case. Some jurisdictions prohibit it, and there's actually a reported Florida case from the early 90s, in which case, and it was a Board of Adjustment in South Florida, that kind of ex-party contact, which means contact between the applicant or it could have been a neighbor, outside the hearing, was presumed prejudicial. If the legislature had enacted, that presumption is overcome in any event by making the decision based on competent and substantial evidence presented in the chamber, which happens to be the standard to support a decision regardless.
Right.
So if there's enough evidence on the record to support the decision, that presumption isn't relevant. Despite that, the legislature responded to that case in the early 90s by giving local governments specific authority, which we've exercised in our code to allow board members such as yourself to have that kind of contact. Now, interestingly, our legislation says that you don't have to disclose that contact. However, Mr. Betts had evidence that was given to him that he then referred to in this chamber, which was part of the evidence of record on which he relied. So it was a good practice on Mr. Betts's part.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. And I didn't know we were allowed to approach and gather additional information. Like I knew we were allowed to go by, and I've had people call me before.
You know, there's
So that's
pros and
good to know.
cons. Some of the cons are people might think the fix is in, you know,
Right.
but it's always a good idea if you do go out to the site and you observe things that are part of the basis on which you would make your decision, that you disclose them in the chamber, as Mr. Betts said.
And any conversation you have with anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great. And I
agree.
commend you for doing your research and going by the property, you know.
I drive by it every day. I live right around.
That's
the
great.
corner.
No, because we've had other
Perfect
members
place,
that
right.
have been here before who I don't know if they read the packet before they came here. So, you know, that's only fair to the applicant. So thank you for doing a good job and for summarizing that. Also, when do we elect a new chairperson. Not that I'm looking to,
recently.
Wow.
not that
She
I'm
comes
looking to
back
get
from,
out of the
she comes
job.
back from Africa and it's like, I'm still on vacation. I
Trying to
mean,
get
what's
out
on?
of all my responsibilities slowly.
I'm gonna go look at the
Not
animals.
allowed, not allowed. Too young for that. You got a
So
long way to go.
under the Land Development Code, the chair serves for a term of a year.
Oh, okay. So it's on a calendar year. Okay.
It's whenever you became chair.
Okay.
When did you become chair?
June or July?
It was like, yeah, it wasn't that long
was
ago.
pretty
It wasn't that
recent.
long ago.
Wow. Wow.
Where you at?
Wow.
And
I
then you've
said it
been
Wow.
gone for the last 4 weeks,
Wow.
so now you really have to make it up.
I've
Wow.
said
Minus
so
your
many
time that you've been gone.
responsibilities lately, like, nope,
Trying to get
yeah.
out of
I
it.
think we should add another
So
month.
it
'cause you
sounds
missed-
like,
Just for that. What's
So it
the
sounds
That
like-
was probably only the second meeting I've missed.
sounds like Santa Claus isn't coming.
He's not coming for everybody. Well, on that note, I think we'll adjourn. So let's see, it's 1:27 or whatever time Ms. Groom says it is.
There you go.
You're the boss.
All right.
Yes.
I second
We
it.
all second it.
Could you gavel, please?
Oh, yeah, gavel.
Because I know.
Yes, happy
This thing
holidays.
home.